Something a lot of people have been asking is how they can customize the user interface of DMHub to be more to their needs and to their style of play and the likings of their players. And as an example of this, recently we added this normalize currency button to the inventory screen. So if we have this person with 25 silver, we can press this normalize button and it changes it to 2 gold and 5 silver. This is nice and convenient, but some people have suggested that they really prefer it not to be in their game, or at least not to be available to their players, because they think it ruins the immersion a bit if they can too conveniently change that huge pile of copper into a few pieces of gold. So I'm going to show you how to do that. And to do that, you're going to have to make yourself a tiny little code mod, which will be written in Lua. You go to code mods in the compendium and you add a new code mod. And this might seem a little bit terrifying, but really the code you'll have to write is pretty easy, and you can pretty much just copy me. You can probably also download this as a module if somebody else has provided the exact thing that you want. So we've made our mod. You can name your mod and write a description if you want. I'm just going to go straight into editing it. You'll have to make sure you have an editor set up, but Windows will set you up with, will sort you through that. You can just use Notepad if you really need to. That should be on everyone's computer. And here, I just type that I want to register a new, what I call global style, which is a style that applies to the UI elements in DMHub. Specifically though, I want it to apply to this element. And to work out how to make it apply to this element, I use the styles debugger, which you can access by pressing F7. When you do that, you'll see that as you mouse around the screen, the different UI elements will have rectangles drawn around them, and then information will be displayed over about them to the right. You can also press page up and page down to cycle through all of the elements that are under the mouse cursor at any given time. So if I mouse over my the button that I'm interested in, and I can press Control F. There's a list of controls in the bottom right of the screen. Control F kind of freezes things on this element. So now as I move about, this element stays selected. And I can see there's a lot of extraneous information here. What I'm interested in is this in bold is the ID of the element. It is the normalize inventory button. So knowing that, I can press F7 again to get rid of that display, and I want to select that. So I want this to apply only to the normalize inventory button. Got to make sure that I spell it exactly right, including the casing. And I could do something like, I could say I want to scale this up to 3 times its size, just as an example. And if I do that, we'll see that this has immediately gotten scaled up, and it is much larger now. And there's many different styles you can apply to things. So we actually said we wanted to hide it. So I'm going to change this to say hidden equals 1. And when you hide something, it just makes it not exist. So somebody can't click on it, like it's really not there. You can't still click on it or anything. It just doesn't exist. And you've done this, and then all you would need to do is check it in, and I'll show you how to do that. And then your players would get, the mod would be deployed to your players, and your players would literally not see this button anymore and would have no way to interact with it. However, we did say that we only wanted this to apply to players. We still want access to this button. So I'll show you how to do that next. Now, I'm going to show you just this element as an example. You'll see that I've selected this copper coin. And over here, we see this just has, because it's sort of an automatically generated component, it doesn't have its own unique identifier that we've set. It just gets one generated by DMHub. But what it does have in green, it has what are these called classes. So it's a panel, and everything is a panel. So it's in the panel class. And it's got the class DM. And what DM means is when you're the game master in a game, every panel gets this DM class. And when you're a player in a game, every panel gets the player class. So what we would want to do is we would want to also apply this. We would also want to put player here. And if we put player here, this says only apply this to the normalize inventory button, and player means it only applies to players. So as a DM, you will still get to see the button and use it, but your players will not. And then once you save that, and then you go to the compendium, and you go to your code mods, and you just have to check it in. So you just type a description remove. It's hard to make a video and think about what to type. Remove normalized currency button for players, and then we check it in, and that it confirms, and it has deployed it to your players, and now they will not have the normalize button anymore. And you can apply this to anything that has an ID to it. So, for instance, you could do the same thing for some people were asking this Anthem control. They wanted to be able to not let their players control this because they wanted to use an Anthem as a reward that their players would get. So you could do the same thing here, and you can see that this is called the Anthem panel, and you could use the exact same technique to hide this from your players.